There's a lot of pointing of fingers, and it was an interesting weekend because I spent here in Scottsdale, beautiful weather, spent lots of time on the phone talking to members on the right side of our conference, left side of our conference, those like me who were actually for the bill, those who are against it. Look, I'm still pathologically optimistic. If I can keep some of the feelings, the hurt feelings, and sort of deal with those. If you listen to the members who were uncomfortable with the legislation, they had a fixation on, are we doing enough to lower premiums for that individual market? Here in Arizona, that market is, I'm going to use the word imploding. I have a county right next door to me that had a 116% increase in their premiums, and all of Arizona has only one provider. Oh, wow. So the problem hasn't gone away, particularly for states like mine. So it still needs to be dealt with, but we may need a couple weeks here where at least we now know where everyone's key buttons are.
Do you think is there any, it's not buyer's remorse, it's, I mean, any of the guys on the right that you spoke to, have any of them said, woo, man, we really, yeah. I mean, are any of them saying, we're really glad we did this? Or do you see any remorse whatsoever that maybe you can, like we keep saying again and again, you sacrifice the good to stand up for what the perfect is, which is like the anti-Reagan. You know, he wanted 70%.
Look, absolutely true. And this, for many of us, this was an occasion where a third of a loaf was better than no loaf at all. But be careful also on the math. Remember, there was also a substantial number of members on the very moderate side. Right. Who had become no votes.
Well, now you're just making it worse. Now you're making it worse because now we're getting even further. You know, you're lucky you live in Arizona. I would have been fine, too. I would have gone out, and it was probably 80 degrees, right, and sunny.
Oh, yeah.
And I would have put this all behind me. But back here, we got 35 degrees in rain, all right, which was the perfect, perfect setting for what the Freedom Caucus brought us, I think.
One more time, remember the Freedom Caucus, which I'm one of the founding members of, had a large number of voters or members of that who had great concerns we weren't doing enough on premiums. We had a fairly substantial block of members on the more moderate side, which also had a concern we weren't doing enough on lowering premiums. So at least on this sort of barbell, we have a common theme, which actually, at least if we're focused on the same thing, I think there's a path to get there. But this may be one of those moments where those of us as the rank and file members are going to have to do the heavy lifting and not expect leadership to come to the table with a solution.
Congressman, that is not what we were hearing from the Freedom Caucus. We had on one member from the Freedom Caucus on Friday who said, Mo Brooks, who said, look, this is a situation where this is one of the worst pieces of legislation I've ever seen. This is nothing but a huge Republican welfare. I mean, that doesn't sound like not doing enough on premiums. He sounded like he wanted the bill completely scrapped.
Yeah, and look, you're going to have a handful of those. But we as a society have made a simple math decision. If we as a society are going to have pre-existing conditions covered, at that point, the math decision has been made. Right. Now we're just discussing how to pay for it.
Hey there, thanks for checking out CNBC on YouTube. Be sure to subscribe to stay up to date on all of the day's biggest stories. You can also click on any of the videos around me to watch the latest from CNBC. Thanks for watching.